What's up, Headliner Nation? Kyle back with the Fantasy Headliners, and we are talking top 25 wide receivers today. Y'all are going to be drafting really soon, or if you already drafted, you're thinking about making some moves or whatever it may be, we got to get through this information quickly. Okay, a lot of you are finishing up this weekend, and football's right around the corner. We're less than 7 days away from kickoff. Remember at one point this offseason when people were saying we weren't getting football this year? We kept telling you to remain positive, and we will get it. Now, no big long intro or anything today because I just wanted to take a second to remind everybody things get busy during the season, and we want to help as many people as possible. But last year, between comments, emails, DMs, everything, we got more than 10,000 questions a week. It's absolutely impossible for us to get to everyone. So we wanted to try and help out and make sure that there was a way that you could get guaranteed answers to your questions this year, and that can happen over on Patreon. You can subscribe over on Patreon for a monthly fee for any one of these tiers. Take a look and see what each tier has. And if you join over there for at least $10 a month, we will guarantee answers to all of your questions, trade questions, draft questions, start sit questions, whatever it may be. If you want to guarantee that you will get answers from the Fantasy Headliners this year, either Jake or myself, that is the way to go. We're still going to be in the comments trying to answer as many questions as possible. We have specific guys hired this year to answer questions on YouTube as well. But we've grown to such a massive size, we can't get to you all. So we wanted to make sure that we gave you an option if you're wanting to guarantee those answers. And quite honestly, it's only $10 a month. You know, go to Subway one less time, or McDonald's, or Burger King, and you'll be all set. Ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into it, though. We got to talk about my top 25 wide receivers. So let's get into it and flow through these players. All right, Headliner Nation, let's lock in the top 25 wide receivers. As we've done in our other rankings videos, you've got my rankings and Jake's rankings, so you can see where we differ. And then you've got the consensus rankings as well to see where we differ against them too. Now, the top 4 wide receivers are basically interchangeable. Yes, you've got Michael Thomas cemented as the wide receiver 1. And then after that, these guys, they could be any mixture of it. It's kind of like a 2A, B, and C for me. Julio Jones, you're not going to find a safer wide receiver outside of Michael Thomas. Yeah, he gets knocked for not having as many touchdowns as we would like, but he puts up more than enough volume year after year after year to be one of the safest guys that you can draft at the position. Tyree Kill for me, he plays in the best offense with the best quarterback, a dynamic ability, lots of yards after the catch, big playability, can win those contested catches. Tyree Kill, the hamstring is worrying me a little bit, so I'm keeping an eye on that. If we get closer to kickoff on Thursday and he's still hampered with it, he might drop a couple for me. But if he hadn't missed time last year, he would have been a top 5 wide receiver. At number 4, Devonte Adams. Nothing against Devonte Adams. If you hate that I have him at 4 instead of 2, calm down. Nothing to get upset about. Only concern is this is an offense that is moving to a run-heavy scheme. They already showed it last year. Are they going to do that more this year? And he was going to have another weapon in Devin Funchess at some point. Is Allen Lazard going to end up stepping up now that Funchess has opted out? Can Marquez Valdes-Scantling step up? Just some question marks around him. So even though the volume will be there, will he be ultra efficient with the volume, or is he going to lose some of that big playability because he might be shadowed and covered by 2 guys a little bit more often? At number 5, Kenny Galladay. Kenny Galladay I'm a little bit higher on than most at this point, because if you watched my must-have wide receiver video with him, you know that this guy has some big playability, but also saw some of that volume start to come with it as well. We could see more of that volume here in 2020, but Matthew Stafford is fully healthy, and he's going to make Kenny Galladay a top 5 wide receiver this year. At number 6, Chris Godwin. He's going to get plenty of volume. Don't be worried about that. Only concern is it a little bit of a difference from him not playing nearly in the slot as much. And the reason that we're talking about the slot a little bit more often is because they could be moving to some more 12 personnel, meaning you're going to run 2 tight ends, so your wide receivers have to play on the outside. So he might not get as many mismatches as we saw last year. Still an uber talented wide receiver, should see plenty enough volume. At number 7, Amari Cooper. Most of you are going to disagree with this, and I get it and I understand why. However, Amari Cooper, when he plays in the slot, he is amazing, and the numbers back it up. When he plays in the slot, he's got some big play potential, and he's very efficient with it. You should see him and CeeDee Lamb working back and forth out of the slot this year, and now he's got plenty of weapons around him, so even if his volume ticks down just a little bit, even though there's plenty of volume to go around now that Jason Witten is gone and some of those targets are going to disperse out, and Randall Cobb, don't forget that, he got quite a few targets last year. There should be more than enough to go around, and Amari Cooper should take advantage of it. At number 8, DeAndre Hopkins. Love DeAndre Hopkins. Just giving him a bump down this year. New quarterback, new offensive system, not a great offensive line, and for the first time in his career, he's got more than enough weapons around him that he's not going to be the sole producer, so he could see some of that volume come down from what we've seen in years past. Odell Beckham Jr. at number 9. I'm not giving up on OBJ, and I'm not giving up on the Browns. Freddie Kitchens was a mess last year. His offensive play calling sucked, and they weren't very consistent. That's going to change this year. He's now had a full season with Baker Mayfield. Some wide receivers, when they make changes in the offseason, it takes them a little bit of time to get going. With Odell Beckham Jr., he still had over 1,000 yards last year. The only difference is you're not paying for it in the late first, early second. You're paying for it in the fourth now. He can get back to wide receiver 1 territory. At number 10, Robert Woods, a volume guy there in Los Angeles, but no more Brandon Cooks and no more Todd Gurley, so there's more volume to go around now, and you should see him bump up from the touchdowns he had last season. If he had scored more towards 8 touchdowns in 2019, he would have been a wide receiver 1. Expect him to follow somewhere in that same area this season. Allen Robinson at number 11. People are too focused on whether or not it's going to be Nick Foles or Mitchell Trubisky. Well, last season with Mitchell Trubisky, Allen Robinson was still a wide receiver 1. The good thing about Allen Robinson last year is he wasn't dependent on big playability. He was very consistent throughout the year, and that's what you like for a guy that you can easily get as your wide receiver 2 who could still finish as a wide receiver 1. Mike Evans at number 12. Yes, we might see a little bit of a bump down in efficiency, but don't forget, this is a guy that has had over 1,000 yards every single year of his career so far. Mike Evans, he just doesn't get enough love. He doesn't get enough respect. Don't cop out on him just because you don't think Tom Brady can still go down the field, because he will be able to, and Mike Evans will still have a good season. Juju Smith-Schuster falling at number 13 for me. Don't forget, this is a guy that was widely considered a wide receiver 1 and a top 3 wide receiver last year. Heck, he was going in the first round in a lot of drafts. We're just going to move away from that. What? Because of one offseason? Ben Roethlisberger is back. Hopefully that elbow is 100% and ready to go for week 1. And the weapons around him have improved. Deontay Johnson is a little bit better this year. Don't forget that they also have James Washington that they can use as well. So they've got a little bit of a bump up now, and he's not going to be solely on his own. He's going to have some people to help. Oh, don't forget, they also added Eric Ebron. That will probably take some pressure off too. At number 14, DJ Moore. Like DJ Moore, just worried about some of that big playability. And no, I'm not talking about stretching the field. I've heard a lot of you. I'm talking about some of that other big playability where you see a lot of yards after the catch. If people are a little bit more focused on DJ Moore this year and Teddy Bridgewater can't really go down the field that much, then that brings some of those safeties a little bit closer to the line, and that can defeat some of that extra yardage that DJ Moore, we've seen him pick up in the past with his explosive playmaking ability. Keenan Allen at number 15. Love Keenan Allen this year for where he's going. Ty God Taylor doesn't worry me at all. He's going to be able to get the ball to Keenan Allen. Terry McLaurin at number 16, a breakout last year in his rookie year, could take even another step forward this year. People are a little bit hesitant of him because of Dwayne Haskins, but I'm telling you not to be. He's a great talent. Him and Dwayne Haskins, even though that connection didn't really work at the end of last season, I'm going to look at that full body of work from Ohio State and realize these guys can really turn it on and step it up a notch this year. Cooper Kupp at number 17. Cooper Kupp is really going to be TD dependent for me. I think some of that volume that we would hope to see go towards him, again, kind of gets spread around between the 2 tight ends and Robert Woods a little bit more. Cooper Kupp, when they went to 12 personnel and he had to move outside last year, wasn't really that good. If that happens more often this season and he can't play in the slot, if they run 3 wide receiver sets and they can get Van Jefferson out wide, that helps Cooper Kupp. But again, if they're going to be having him outside a little bit more in 12 personnel, that is concerning. DK Metcalf at number 18. I love DK Metcalf. Only problem for me is that he's going to be hampered by Tyler Lockett a little bit. Tyler Lockett and Russell Wilson have a great connection, a big play connection. That's going to keep DK Metcalf from fully unlocking what a wide receiver one potential would be. DJ Chark at number 19. Yep, I might be a little bit lower on him than some other people. He's at 22 in the consensus, but if you listen to some people talk about him, they think he's a wide receiver one. Keep in mind, DJ Chark had 43% of his fantasy points in 3 weeks last year. He's very up and down. He's very inconsistent. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot, but some of that up and down type behavior could end up costing you if you rely on him too much. Julian Edelman makes a big jump to number 20 for me with Mohamed Sanu being released, because Julian Edelman is really the only consistent veteran wide receiver that they have left. He should see more than enough this year. Don't forget, the Patriots have lost 6 starters from last year due to free agency and opting out. A.J. Brown at 21. Nothing against A.J. Brown, except that he had some highly efficient numbers last year that he probably will not be able to replicate. And I don't know if I really see the volume going up for him too much this year. Nothing against A.J. Brown. I think a lot of people are buying into what we saw out of some of those big-time performances and kind of forgetting that he had some performances that were not that great either. Again, a little bit up and down, and those receptions after, or those receiving yards after the catch, I don't think that's sustainable. He had 8.88, which was almost 2 yards more than the next closest, Chris Godwin. Expect that number to come down a little bit. Adam Thielen at number 22. Nothing against Adam Thielen. The only problem with Adam Thielen is, even though the volume is going to be there, if you look at the past, when Stephon Diggs has been off the field, Adam Thielen has not been nearly as efficient. His volume does go up a little bit in terms of targets and receptions, but his yards go down and his touchdowns go down. That's because he doesn't have that big-time playmaker on the other side of him. And Thielen has also had almost 50% of his career snaps in the slot. That's not going to be able to happen this year. He's going to be out wide a lot more often and probably going to face a lot more cornerback ones this year. Tyler Lockett at number 23. Talked about him a minute ago when I was speaking about DK Metcalf. Great connection with Russell Wilson. Should still see some of that this year. Calvin Ridley at 24. Taking another step forward this year. We like Calvin Ridley. Listed him as a breakout in the draft guide. That should end up happening. Plays in a really good offense and has got that veteran quarterback to help him. And then Cortland Sutton at number 25. Cortland Sutton is the one guy here that I could see taking a few steps forward, but I don't know who Locke's going to be going to more often. You've got Jerry Jeudy there. You've got J.K. Hamler there. You've got Noah Fant, who is a widely popular opinion to break out at tight end. You've got Melvin Gordon. You've got Phillip Lindsay. There's just a whole lot of mouths to feed. Could he be efficient? Yes, but some of the volume we saw go his way last year may come down this season. And there you have it, my top 25 wide receivers. All right, Headliner Nation, do not forget, if you want all of the in-depth goodness that we got on these guys, go back and check out the rest of our videos. If you're just now tuning back in and you've taken this offseason off to just reflect and get yourself ready, if you didn't think there was going to be football or whatever, we have a lot of must-have wide receivers. We have big names to avoid, everything like that. So we go through these videos pretty quickly. However, if you're looking for more in-depth information, go check out those videos. Scroll back through what we've been doing for the last few months, and you'll find a lot of good stuff. Headliner Nation, don't forget, go subscribe on Patreon if you're able to do that to get a lot of extra exclusive content from us. Not only that, hit that subscribe button here. We're closing in on 90,000 subscribers on YouTube. Comment down below with who you're thinking is in your top 12, top 25 wide receivers, whatever it may be this year, guys that you want to make sure you have or you're avoiding. And as always, if you appreciate that comment, hit that like button. Headliner Nation, thanks so much for tuning into this video. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.